Hi guys, Maikeru here. This is my video on my prefer and block list for Laniakea. I get asked all the time what my prefer and block list would be for Laniakea specifically, so I'm going to go into it in this video. This is going to be looking at doing Slayer optimally and actively. If you're looking for an AFK Slayer method, I have that in my summoner guide and I will leave that in the description to this video. In addition to that, I have a guide for pretty much everything I speak about in this video on my prefer list in the description as well. So if you want to learn more about a particular monster and how to kill them, check the description down below and I will probably have a guide to help you. So without further ado, let's get right into it. I'm going to be starting by talking about the block list. I judge my block list on tasks that are very bad to do and have a very high weighting. What do I mean by weighting? Well, if you take a look on screen right now, you can see on the wiki page, at the right hand side, it has the weighting for each task. The higher the weight, the more commonly you're assigned that task. So when you're blocking things, you want to block things quite high on this list. Things with stuff like a 12 weighting, a 10 or a 9. You don't really want to go all the way down to the bottom and block something that has like a 4 or a 5 weighting. So it means that you're barely ever going to get assigned them. And if you're using a VIP ticket, you're probably going to get assigned something decent alongside it. So it's not worth blocking. So with that out of the way, let's get into our block list first and then get into the juicy prefer list. Starting out the block list, I would say block Dark Beasts. They're only around 300,000 Slayer experience an hour, even doing them efficiently, and that XP nowadays is just not very good. They really don't give that much GP either, and they have a 12 weighting, so you get them all the time. Another block is Greater Demons. If you like doing Krill, or if you're going for the Krill log and you want to do him on task, that's completely fine. But other than doing Krill, I would always block Greater Demons. They again have a 12 weighting and they are absolutely trash. Even if you do Krill for them, the XP is very, very bad. Alongside Greater Demons, we have Black Demons. They're just even worse than Greater Demons because you can't even do Krill for them. They're very bad XP and just overall not a fun task. Next up, we have Celestial Dragons. Celestial Dragons give a decent amount of charms, but that's like the only thing they have going for them. XP-wise, they're about 200k Slayer experience an hour. Really, really, really bad. Then the next two, Dagonoths and Aviancies, both can be done as a boss task. So again, just like Krill, if you're going to do Dagonoth Kings or Kriara, and you're going for that drop log while doing Slayer, that's fine. But XP-wise, even when doing the bosses, they are absolutely garbage, and they're definitely not worth doing. They have a high weight, and you're going to get assigned them all the time. Definitely worth keeping on your block list. And finally, the ones with the lowest rating at 9 are still dragons. Again, I don't have to explain it. This is a trash task. It is a pretty quick task. So if you like getting some quick Slayer points, then sure, you could keep still dragons off of this list. But just because they're literally about 100k Slayer experience an hour, they're on my block list for sure. That is how I would situate my block list personally. Obviously, other people may do it differently, especially if you do bossing for your tasks. But in terms of tasks that you don't want to do if you're going for decent XP or money that you get assigned a lot of, these are ones to block. Moving on to the prefer list. I have sorted this prefer list by level. The way I rate my tasks is if they're good money and good XP, they're a good overall task. Again, I have a guide to most of my prefer list creatures in the description down below, so if you see one that you like the look of or you want to learn more about, check the description. Starting out with our first Slayer creature on my prefer list, we have Nightmare creatures. Laniakea is a level 90 Slayer Master, so you could prefer these instantly even if you've just started using her. You do need to have completed the Children of Mar quest though, but it is 100% worth it for the XP reward and for these. You then have to spend 50 points to activate being able to be assigned them, but I would 100% recommend activating these. These are probably the only monster I would activate to be assigned. They're pretty damn decent experience, around 650k experience an hour. And they're also insane money with the price of Nightmare Gauntlets right now. Nightmare Gauntlets are nearly 90 mil. So if you get one of those as a drop, you make tons of money alongside the good experience that they provide. Definitely one of my way more preferred Slayer creatures. Next up, at level 88+, we have Corrupted Creatures. Again, an insane Slayer task in terms of XP and GP. If you do Corrupted Scorpions, I believe they're around 500k Slayer experience an hour, but the Corrupted Workers can push 650 to 700k experience an hour. But the Corrupted Workers do require 103 Slayer, so they are the highest corrupted creature, and I would advise sticking to the Scorpions until that level. Keys to the Crossing are an insanely high price as well right now because of Kopeshes being so expensive from the Magister. A key to the Crossing is 700k. And you typically get about 3 keys per task. That means just in the keys alone, you're making 2 mil, and then their normal drops and stuff are a decent amount of change as well. Really amazing money, super AFK, good XP. Very nice task. Next up, we have Living Wyverns. These are not AFK whatsoever, but they are absolutely phenomenal. These are around 600 to 700k experience an hour, depending on your efficiency, and the money they make is absurd. The Wyvern crossbow is nearly 100 mil right now because all range weapons are going up like mad. Ascensions are like over 200 mil for a crossbow, so the next best thing is the Wyvern, which caused that to go up with the crazy inflation right now. So if you get that as a drop, just like the Nightmare Gauntlets, it's going to net you a ton of money. Not only that, they have like 6 mil an hour in default rewards by selling their bones and other loot. Really fantastic task. Would recommend. Next up is Ripper Demons. Ripper Demons are around 800,000 Slayer experience an hour if you do them in a personal Slayer dungeon and kill them one at a time. But if you are brave enough and you AoE them down, they can push way over 1 million Slayer experience an hour. I personally just chill in my personal Slayer dungeon and get that 800k Slayer experience an hour and around 20 to 25 million GP an hour. The reason why these are so much money is because of archaeology introducing ancient summoning. Using your binding contracts to make Ripper Demon pouches by killing them is just so much money. Next up is a pretty high level Slayer task, and that is Lost Grove creatures. These Lost Grove creatures are unlocked at 104, and the Moss Golems are 108. The Vine Crawlers are pretty decent, you kind of just DPS them down with range. But the big XP and GP comes from Moss Golems when you're AoEing them down with a Scythe and an Odak Coil. These are 850k Slayer experience an hour, and they net you so much money. Cinderbanes are very similar to Nightmare Gauntlet price right now, about 80 to 90 mil, and the Elven Ritual Shard is closing in on 20 mil. You could get either of those here, a 1 in 1.5k on task, so every 10 tasks or so, you're going to see one of each technically. And then the common loot isn't amazing, but it's held up so well with those Cinderbanes and Ritual Shards. Seeing that Cinderbane drop on the floor is just so satisfying. Next up, we have Soul Devourers. They are level 105 plus. This is the highest Slayer monster that I have on my prefer list. The Sullower Ux are decent. They're around 650 to 700k Slayer experience an hour, and they net you a ton of money, again with the keys to the crossing being 700k each and their common loot. But if you're confident enough and you go and kill the Crocodile Ux at 111 Slayer, you can push nearly 1 million Slayer experience an hour with the same amount of GP as the Sullower Ux, because you get the same amount of kills per hour, netting you a ton of keys and a ton of loot. Soul Devourers and Corrupted Creatures right now are over 12 mil an hour, which is just absurd. Especially as they're semi-AFK, especially if you do the Sullower Ux and the Corrupted Workers. The Crocodile Ux are a little bit more lean forward. And finally, in this last slot, I would recommend 3 different things. One could be Gemstone Dragons. If you're going for full XP, you would use a Scrimshaw of Sacrifice and get no loot from the Gemstone Dragon task, but get about 1.3 million experience an hour, which means you're getting a ton of experience if you're going for 200 mil. Definitely the most amount of XP from a task. If you're not caring about XP and you have 115 Dungeoneering, I would very much advise Edemu. Edemu are literally around 20 mil GP an hour because of the blood shards and their common loot. You can kill about 500 Edemu an hour if you're doing them efficiently, and that nets you a blood shard every hour if you go drop rate, which eventually, averaging over a long period of time, you will go drop rate. But if you don't have 115 Dungeoneering and you don't really want to do Gemstone Dragons, you can get a Demon Cluster task. The reason why I have advised taking Ripper Demons over a Demon Cluster task in the first place, even though you get assigned more on a Demon Cluster task, is because Ripper Demons are 2 times as common to be assigned. And when you prefer something, it makes it 2 times more likely. So preferring a Ripper Demon task is twice as effective as preferring a Demon Cluster task. You're going to see them way more often. Not only that, you can take both. So if you don't want to do Edamu or Gemstone Dragons, grab a Demon Cluster and you'll be able to have Demon Clusters and Rippers all the time, and it'll be really, really solid. And that is it for my prefer and block list. I get asked this all the time, so hopefully this has answered some of your questions. And again, remember, I have guides in the description if you want to learn more about specific Slayer monsters. Give the video a like if you did enjoy, subscribe if you're new for loads of future content, all related to RuneScape 3, and until next time, see ya.